Victory. I just got another victory. Opposition said they sick of me. We turn their future to history. They try to hit me, they missing me. Ooh, they in the way. They getting stepped on back in the day. We who they slept on. You see my place.
What's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you back to Sheer Brilliance Knicks, baby. The New York Knicks have completed a huge victory, a monumental task that was placed before them. Last night with a big victory over the Miami Heat inside of the Mecca at Madison Square Garden. So it's a lot we want to get into. It's a lot we want to talk about today. It's good feelings and good vibes. We watch this team play and we know that there's something special brewing in Madison Square Garden. And not only that, but we're hyped about it because it's great to see that the rest of the world is seeing it as well. So we're going to get into talking about that. We're going to get into talking about how the New York Knicks had a huge win, but a big loss today. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Immanuel quickly, showing the rest of the world that he's special. We're going to get into that. And lastly, we got to get a little bit messy. We got to talk about Butler's diss on Josh Hart. We're going to get into that. All of that coming up right now here at Knicks Deli, Knicks Deli Edition. So if you're new to my channel, you don't know what Knicks Deli is, I want to welcome you. Knicks Deli is where you go after every New York Knicks victory here at Sheer Brilliance Knicks. So this is how it goes. There's only 4 items on the menu. I said 4. There's only 4 items on the menu. There's the bacon, egg, and cheese. All right, if you've ever been to New York, you know how important the deli is in New York culture. But if you've never been to New York and you go to a deli, you gotta go to a deli. And you can't ask for a bacon, egg, and cheese. You gotta ask for a bacon, egg, and cheese. Just one word. All right, so that's on the menu. And here in Knicks Deli, that means who are the 3 ingredients to this win that put that thing together to help that thing work, and help us get this victory. So we're gonna look at 3 players who are the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game. Next on the menu, we have the dollar slice. Now everybody knows that New York has the best pizza in the world, okay? And the dollar slice in New York, that slice of pizza, it's stabilizing. It's been a stabilizing fixture of New York. So we're gonna ask, who is the Knicks player in last night's game who provided stability for us, okay? Next, we're gonna look at who is the chopped cheese. So the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be busting. So we're going to look at who is the chopped cheese of the game, who is relatively new either to the team or to the game, but their contribution was busting and helped us get this victory. And lastly, you can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. No, you can't have the quarter water. No, you can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese if you don't have nothing to wash it down with, and that's the quarter water. So we're going to look at who had an impact on a particular quarter or a little bit over each quarter to help us secure this victory. All right. Once we're done with the menu, we're going to look at who is the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the day. And what that is it has to be a moment, either anything related to this game, whether it was something a commentator said before, during, or after the game, whether it's something a player did during the span of the game. We look at a singular moment that made you as a fan look at the screen sideways and say, nah, son, nah, you wildin'. All right, so we're going to look at what moment that was. I think we all know what moment that was, but we're going to look at it anyway. And then lastly, we're going to look at, I read it at Knicks Deli, okay? And this is where we switch over and we look at Knicks Reddit for a moment and we see what the rest of Knicks Nation is talking about, okay? So we will do all of that right now coming up, okay? But first and foremost, I want to welcome you all to my channel. If you're here for the first time, I appreciate you. I want to welcome you and let you know, hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in learning more about when we drop new videos, when we drop new content, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to me. If you like this video, like what you see as well. I thank you, and we want to welcome you to the SP community, okay? Next, if you're returning to the channel, my SP community, welcome back. Let's go, baby. Let's talk about these Knicks. We looking good, okay? And lastly, you know you can't have those people who celebrate you and those people who are new to the channel who vibe with what you do If you ain't got nobody who's going to disagree with you, and we call you cats the ops, and we know you watching. We know you watching this video, all right? In the comment section, commenting, in sectioning. And guess what? You're rocking with the best, baby. But welcome to the channel. Friend or foe, we want the smoke. And this channel is for anybody who is a fan of NBA basketball, all right? So you're welcome here. Please do me a favor and engage, as long as we keep it respectful, okay? And if you're watching this video a little bit later on, on your lunch break or whatever have you, I appreciate you for being here as well. I hope that we help you pass the time in whichever way we can. And come back, keep coming back. We try to put out good quality content for you, all right? So let's do this. Let's just dive right on in and talk about our New York mother flipping Knicks, okay? Actually, before I do that, let me do this. I always like to give a shout out, to our SB community. So let me start out by giving Shear's top 5 shout out. And this is when I give a shout out to 5 members of the SB community that stick with me and support me and engage with the channel regularly. So my top 5 is this. Number 1 is Sandy Beaches. Shout out to you, Sandy Beaches. Number 2 is Lee Valentin. Shout out to you, Lee Valentin. One of the top up and coming comedians. Got a YouTube channel. Check him out. Leo Valentin. Number 3 is Whaleflower. My guy Whaleflower is all the way in Romania. So shout out to you, Whaleflower. Be a part of the SB community. Number 4 is Jason Sewell. Let's go, Jason Sewell. Let's go. Welcome back, my brother. And 5, Mike Lilly, strong in the SB community. Shout out to you all. You all are Shear's top 5. Top 5, dead or alive. I'm going to get my sound effects up. Right now, I got to do my own ad-libs. All right? But I wanted to get that out of the way because without you, there is no me here at Knicks Deli. Okay? So since we're at Knicks Deli, who is first? Who is the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich? Okay? And the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, it's gotta be Immanuel mother flipping Quickly. It's gotta be our young boy Immanuel Quickly. Come on, man. Come on, man. Can we talk about Immanuel Quickly? Immanuel Quickly last night once again put up a light 24, 3 steals, and 4 assists. But he did more than that. On the night in which we got our point guard back, from injury, who had a little bit of a slow start, Immanuel Quickly was able to come in and give what's given, whether he's coming off of the bench or starting. That man produces energy. He impacts the game with his energy and his style of play. He brings a change of pace style of play to us. This is what's going to make us dangerous in the playoffs. This is what other teams see on film and makes them say, you know what, if we can avoid that New York Knicks matchup in the first round, let's do that. Don't get it twisted, Knicks fans. We're a concern for a lot of teams who are trying to position themselves in this year's playoffs. And the major reason for that is Immanuel Quickly. Once again, Immanuel Quickly was providing oohs and ahs for the crowd, whether it's our home crowd or our away crowd. It's so awesome watching this team play and watching him go. But it's more important and awesome to watch the opposing bench when our teams are going on their runs. And with every drive and flip of the basketball that went in, with every three-pointer that he elevated on and hit nothing but net, it took a little bit more of the life out of their bench. And it's beautiful to watch their coaches drop their head. And you can see they're taking notes for every time a player hits a three-pointer or hits a shot. And it was so satisfying to me to watch them have to drop their head and make another note. Immanuel Quickly is special. He is special. And something I realized just overall in watching last night's game, man, Kentucky got ballers in this league. Last night, you had Immanuel Quickly, who was out there from Kentucky. You had Adebayo, who's from Kentucky. You had Hero, who's from Kentucky. And I'm sure there may be one or two that I missed. But it was great to see Immanuel Quickly continue to elevate his game. he's beyond the Sixth Man of the Year conversation now. That's a given. It's a given that he's in the conversation. It's a given that he should be considered as a front runner. But I'm looking forward to the NBA starting to have conversations about Immanuel quickly, like they did when Tyrese Maxey began to emerge. And that only happens when you're in the playoffs. You do this in the regular season, it's cute. But if you do this in the playoffs, then that's when they begin talking about you. That's when they begin looking online about when is your free agency period. And that's when other teams start talking about maneuvering to offer that man the bag, to be a starter to run their team. I'm continuously impressed and surprised. I really, really didn't see when he was a rookie and when he was a second-year player, Tom Thibodeau kept saying, I'm going to put him at the point and give him time at the point. And then when he would have interviews, he would say, you know what, I'm a point guard. I see myself as a point guard. When Tom Thibodeau talked about it, he said, I see him as a basketball player. So he could be at the 2, he could be at the 1. But now I see it. I see the vision. And it takes vision. Once again, that's why it's important to have the same coach, to be able to be with those players so that they develop and they get better and they understand what the expectations are. And they have an opportunity to work through those high and low points until they become consistent. And they have not only the confidence of the coach, but the confidence of the teammates as well. And we see that all coming to a head with Immanuel quickly and his play this year. I'm so happy that it's happening in New York. In this particular period of time, we are completely cutting out all of the myths about the New York Knicks, that you can't develop in New York, that you can't draft and the fans won't have patience with the team when they're in New York, that you can't draft well, develop well, and then win in New York with those players. That has got to be a big name that we bring in here. And I know that's happening now, but we knew it would. The moment we start making noise in terms of our win totals and start showing progress in terms of having developed young talent, then the outside world, and many of us on the inside world, will fall victim to this thought process as well. We start talking about who is the big fish we should flip all this and go for. And then we run the risk of possibly becoming the Brooklyn Nets, where we bring in 3 superstars and it doesn't equate to wins. And it completely demolishes our chemistry and culture that we've built up. Took so many hits from everybody in order to stay consistent, stay on track, and build up this culture. I like what I see, and I think I'm going to roll with what I have. And if we do so, maybe our very own, we will develop into stars and superstars in this league. But today, we give kudos to the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese, Immanuel Quickly. Round of applause for our guy, Immanuel mother flipping Quickly. Next up, who is the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese? And that distinction goes to none other than Quentin mother flipping Grimes. Round of applause for our guy, Quentin Grimes. Yes. QG. Grime time. There was a grime scene at Madison Square Garden last night. Okay? This young man continues to build every game. He continues to show you what he's capable of every game. I'm dropping 20 on you. I'm continuing to show you why it was a smart move not to include me in a deal where you would now see this type of production or more. He probably would be scoring 26 points a game in Utah. All right? This is why it's going to come back that the New York Knicks are a sound, thinking, solid front office by keeping this young man and having him develop. And he's showing what he can do on the biggest stage. He has a phenomenal long game, three-point shot. He has a phenomenal versatility to his game. He's able to drive to the basket. He has great vision. He plays defense. He is everything that's part of what the New York Knicks envision their team being as they compete for championships in the next 5 years. And we drafted him, and we reached for him. And I think like 25, number 25. We found the gem. We applied pressure. and now we're polishing the diamond in the rough. This is all happening in the New York Knicks uniform. Quentin Grimes last night had 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. It's so refreshing having guards on our team who rebound the ball. It takes us back to a Mark Jackson. It takes us back to a Derek Harper. It takes us back to a Charlie Ward, having guards who's not afraid to get their nose dirty, to catch an elbow. It takes us back to a Jason Kidd. Guards who are not afraid to go in there and mix it up with the big guys and fight for those rebounds. This is what we're seeing in Quentin Grimes. And also what we're seeing in Quentin Grimes is the level of maturity, not being phased, shaken, but staying ready, even if his number's not called. But when his number is called, he knows how to get in there and he just puts the shot up. There is no tentativeness when Quentin Grimes gets the basketball in his hands and he has an open shot. None tentative. There's also no tentativeness if Quentin Grimes gets the ball in his hands and he's covered. He believes and he trusts in his form, and he believes and he trusts in his work. And we're seeing the production now at the best time. This final stretch ending the season and going into the regular season. So I was so happy to see Quentin Grimes continue to break out of his shell. And in only his second year, prove the confidence that his coach has in him by continuing to produce as a starter for the New York Knicks. So shout out and a round of applause to our guy, the egg of the game, Quentin mother-flipping Grimes. Shout out to you, my guy. Next, who is the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli today? And the cheese is going to be none other than our guy, Josh mother-flipping Hart. Round of applause for our guy, Josh Hart. Let's go. Josh Hart continues to do everything that the New York Knicks need him to do to win games. He is the perfect space filler. He is the perfect attack dog. He is the perfect odds and ends guy. He's the perfect 50-50 balls on the court type of guy. He is our dog. Josh Hart contributed last night successfully to the tune of 13 points, 8 rebounds. Once again, a guard who rebounds and pursues the basketball. And 3 assists. Josh Hart continues to be a disruptor. Continues to be a versatile defender. How many times does he hit the hardwood when he's on the court? How many times? He's exactly the type of player that fits the personality of this team. And he's a difference maker. He is very tough to plan for. And teams do not want to see him. Teams around the league rest assured that when this move was made to acquire Josh Hart, that the New York Knicks was serious about making moves. And they were smart about the decisions that are made coming out of the front office. So tonight, we're going to get back to Josh Hart, and I'll continue this conversation. But tonight, we're going to applaud our guy, Josh Hart. My guy, you are the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli Edition. Round of applause to you. Round of applause. Let's go. Next up, who is the dollar slice of the game? All right? The dollar slice is that person that provides the stability for the team, because the slice of pizza. The pizza is a stabilizing factor in New York. So we want to see who is the stabilizing factor for this game in this monumental victory over the Miami Heat. And for us today, that award goes to our guy Isaiah Hartenstein. Our guy Isaiah Hartenstein. Round of applause for this man. Probably the most underrated, under the radar, but most monumental contribution or addition to our team. When we had that run 2 seasons ago in the playoffs, we had Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. And I loved having that combination. You know why? Because I felt there was no drop off. I felt there was no drop off in the style of play and the type of production we would get. You have Mitch Robinson crashing the boards, going for the offensive rebounds, blocking shots, going for the defensive rebounds, being an intimidating factor in the middle. And then when he sat out, Nerlens Noel came in, and the same thing happened. He was crashing the boards. He was going for offensive and defensive rebounds. He was blocking shots. He was an intimidating factor in the middle. Okay? Only thing was, none of them produced any offense out of the 5 spot. And the reason we failed 2 years ago is because we could not produce offense from the point guard position or the 5 position. And we also had one of those centers having hands of stone. So that led to a lot of turnovers once the ball was thrown into that player, and he couldn't make the reads, he couldn't move the ball because he didn't have the ball. So what I love about the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein is so multifaceted. First and foremost, he's come in and he's just been absorbed in the culture, and he's contributing to the culture. He is high energy. He's a team player. He's not on the outside. He is in. He's also doing quickly celebration. You know, he's one of the guys. And not only that, in terms of the culture of the team, but his contribution. He didn't get shaken when he had a little bit of a stretch where he was fouling constantly. He didn't get a shaken where he had a stretch of the season where he was getting blown by and he was a defensive liability at the center position. He didn't get shaken when the fans' murmuring started to rise about trading him and that he was a bust as a trade to the team. He did not get shaken. And that's one of the qualifications you need to be a member successfully on the New York Knicks team. One of the qualifications. But what I absolutely loved was the more he became familiar with his teammates, the more he became familiar with the city, the more he began getting familiar with the playbook, he started finding his rhythm within it. He started dominating. He'll have 3 points, but he'll have 10 rebounds. And that's an example as tonight. He produced 6 points, but he had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Can he stretch the floor? Yeah. On occasion, he can stretch the floor and hit that occasional 3-point shot. But more regularly, what you'll find is that from the center position, he'll hit a nice little push shot just to get that 2. And this will get you a consistent 6 points. Hit that push shot 3 times. It keeps the defense honest that you know if he got the ball in his hands, he could do something with it. In addition to that, the man is a defensive pursuer. So whether you're on a 3-point line or whether you're in the middle trying to dunk on him, the man is not afraid of posters. He must have had posters posted all around his walls when he was young because he's not afraid of posters. He ain't afraid of seeing them. He ain't afraid of creating them. And he ain't afraid of being on one. And this is something that we absolutely needed. A team full of players who are not afraid. And that's exactly what the New York Knicks were able to assemble. That's exactly what we have in Isaiah Hartenstein. He is an outright dog. And he could be in there to start, to back up if Mitch is out. If Mitch is in, he's there to back out. He's there to start if Mitch is out as well. But he's also oftentimes found in closing out games. And that is trust. That is not hard to gain from our coach. He's developed a level of trust and stored it in the bank for this coach. And this coach knows that he can depend on him when he inserts him in the game. So to my guy, that's nothing but stability. And that's why you, Isaiah Hartenstein, you are the dollar slice of the game, my brother, here at Knicks Deli Edition. Shout out to you. Round of applause for Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay? I know we are humming right now. Okay, we are moving along. Next up on the menu is the chopped cheese. Everybody know the chopped cheese is relatively new, but that thing be busting. So who is the chopped cheese of the game here at Knicks Deli today? And the chopped cheese goes to our guy, Jalen Mother Flippin' Brunson. Shout out to our guy, Jalen Mother Flippin' Brunson. Jalen Brunson, you already know how I feel. This is my favorite player on the New York Knicks. You already know how I feel about him. And I was so happy to see that he's returned from injury today in last night's game. But as you could expect, to be out, nursing the hand injury, trying to make sure he got that thing mended up before the playoffs start, he was going to be a little bit rusty. And you saw that in his first few shots that he took in this game. He was a little bit rusty, just a little bit. But he ultimately got together to a tune of 12 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds today. What I love was IQ was more of the offensive producer for this game. But the game never felt choppy with Jalen Brunson in there. The flow of the game still remained the same. Our production continued to adjust at the pace that we typically would expect it to. The Knicks will get out sometimes to big starts, but they've traditionally gotten out to slower starts. So it didn't seem as if anything was amiss with Brunson coming back and trying to shake the rust off. But what I love about our point guard, and this is what's going to make the New York Knicks dangerous in the playoffs, and this is what's going to put the New York Knicks on the map in the playoffs, is that this mother flipping man is a big shot taker and he's a big shot maker. This man right here, this man. And I'm talking, there's no better example than what we saw last night before the first half ended. Right before, when he got the ball in that corner and he raised up for the shot, and he held it there for a microsecond, but it was so pretty. And it basically announced to the Miami Heat, this New York Knicks team that you've been accustomed to bullying, that ain't the same team. You know you got a problem in New York. You know you got a problem in the big city now. We are not those Knicks that you used to bully 2 or 3 years ago or 4 or 5 years ago. You can't come and talk your talk. We saw the announcer at the beginning of the game speaking to Bill Pito, and he said, oh, yeah, so he's back just in time to beat up these Knicks. They're accustomed to making those jokes. I watched the Heat broadcast afterwards because the same 2 announcers who was clowning us before our first game against the Heat this season, saying, oh, I love coming to Madison Square Garden. My favorite place to come in and watch the Heat take on the Knicks, because those fans have to leave with the L. Get on the L train and take this L with you, they said. Now, where are we today? We are 3-1 against those Miami Heat. So I hope they got their behinds on the train and took this L with them. I love that. The narrative is changing of the New York Knicks across the league. Okay? And it's so beautiful to be a part of it, to be a fan during this time, to see us turn this whole thing around. But Jalen Brunson is a key to that. He's an absolute key to that. And I was happy to have him back. So round of applause for Jalen Brunson. 12 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. My guy, you are the chopped cheese of the game. All right, next up on the Knicks menu is the quarter water. Okay? Now, this is a little bit of a unique selection for me. Who would be the quarter water of tonight's game? Who is that player or person that impacts the game in the quarter, had a great quarter, or contributed a little bit each quarter throughout this game to help us secure that victory? And that person, my guy, is Tom Mother Flippin' Thibodeau. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau, you are the quarter water, my guy. The quarter water. Tom Thibodeau. Knick fans. Pro Tom Thibodeau Knick fans, anti-Tom Thibodeau Knick fans, you got to drop to a knee. You got to pay the proper respects to your head coach. Tom Thibodeau is quickly approaching, once again, the end of a regular season in which he has his team in the NBA playoffs, in which he is in the race for Coach of the Year. And it's not just any team laden with veterans. Because they say Tom Thibodeau will go to a team and he'll trade for all old people. No, he's not doing that. Your coach, Tom Thibodeau, is doing this with a team that he helped develop. He helped them grow from boys to men. And he helped them find their identity within this league, within this team. Are they still working on finding it? Yes, but it's year 3. But Tom Thibodeau has this team playing with confidence. He has this team playing for him. And he has this team bought in to his personality, his identity, and his vision for where they want to go. And they're primed to make a run. Your coach, Tom Thibodeau, okay, who completely, along with this team, and it's only appropriate that he's the coach of this team, having this level of success. Because now he's killing all the narratives that was placed on him, as well as the team killing all the narratives that was placed on them. The narrative of him being antiquated. And you need new blood, and he can't do it because he's too old school. That the players, he'll lose the players. He can't coach in a young man's league. His offense ain't good enough. His defense ain't good enough no more. All of those narratives out the window. And to sum it up, simply looking at the stretch of last night's game, closing time, winning time, where the team had found just a little something to click, and he saw the jelly. Something's key, something that's key to showing that this man has adjusted his ways is that he kept that team in. He kept that unit in. Knowing he had his starting point guard on the bench, he stayed with the unit that got him to the dance, that got them the lead. And I was proud of him. So you should be proud of him as well. So round of applause for our guy, Tom Thibodeau. My guy, you are the quarter water of the game. All right? Now we're at the point where we're at the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And that's when we look at, you know what? Something in the game that made us look at the screen sideways and be like, yo, nah, son, nah, you wildin'. And many of you know what that moment is. That moment is this. Yeah, we're going to talk about this real quick. The nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the day goes to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler. So after the game, after this victory that the New York Knicks have secured, the New York Knicks were glad-handing with the opponent. Good game, good whatever have you. Catching up with friends or foes, and just giving the props. Doing the respectful, good sportsman-like thing. Okay? And then this moment happened. And let me set this up because in a still photo, not a lot is being said. And I was watching this one closely. So Jalen Brunson was being congratulated by Jimmy Butler. Okay? And while they were in conversations, this is when Josh Hart walks up. All right? And Jimmy Butler looks at Josh Hart. So he acknowledges that he's there. So he can't use the excuse that I didn't see him. I was locked in and I was leaving like Kyrie did. He looked at him and he locked in. He saw that he was there. And he continued to talk to Brunson while this man had his hand out like this. And while the conversation ended with Brunson, walking past and behind Brunson was a referee. And Jimmy Butler very slickly and disrespectfully changed his fixation from Jalen Brunson to the referee. And he starts talking about a call. And I gave him an opportunity to turn away and not acknowledge this man's handshake. Now, some people look at that and said, he got dissed. That was a disrespectful moment. And I have that here in the writing as well. But I'm going to tell you this much. It wasn't disrespectful. It was the most respectful moment. Because it was this moment that you realize idols become rivals. Now, I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler is Josh Hart's idol, but you can allude to that because Jimmy Butler's been in the league longer than Josh Hart. All right, he's been in the league longer than him. He's been doing a couple of things a little bit longer than Josh Hart. But what this moment said to me was, yeah, you think you're big stuff. You join this team, and I watch film. I watch you on TV. I watch how you talking. You think you big stuff. So I don't want to give you no props because I'm gonna have to see you sooner or later, and we're gonna see who's big stuff. This is intimidation. I don't want to acknowledge that the torch is going to be passed and that you, my guy, your addition to this team makes them a threat. This is a threat moment. So when Jimmy Butler refuses to shake this man's hand, Josh Hart should be completely elated because this is the height of respect coming from a Jimmy Butler when he tries not to acknowledge you. All right? And the same thing goes, I'll say it with Dylan over in Memphis. He's doing a whole lot of talking, which is what is putting people off. But what you can't deny is his production on the floor and that he's annoying, but he's backing up a lot of what he's talking. So when people try not to respect him because of his antics, that's one thing. But his game is undeniable. And Josh Hart's game is undeniable. No matter how many times Jimmy Butler want to act like he don't see him, he going to see him again. And it may be in the playoffs. So don't be offended by this, Knicks fans. Understand that this is the highest form of respect disguised in disrespectful work clothes. So that is my nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the game. All right? So I just want to share some other thoughts that I have. Julius Randle went down last night in the second quarter. Very tough to see him go down last night. It was super bad, what they're calling ankle strain, and it was just a tough thing to deal with. It was a tough thing to deal with him going down that way and being in that much pain. It was interesting to kind of see that it was real bad. The way he couldn't put weight on it, it just reminded me, ironically, of Kobe. And I say ironically because that's his mentor. But it was one of those things where he sat and he was looking like, I know something's wrong. He was looking around, he was giving people looks like, I know something's wrong. And then when he got up, and the fact that he really couldn't put no weight on it, I mean, a terrible ankle sprain will do that. Anybody who's tried to play basketball, who's played basketball, and who's had an ankle sprain like that before, you know that. But for him to take the free throw, that was just an eerie reminder of Kobe Bryant, who, with a torn Achilles, still got himself together and endured the pain enough to be able to take the free throw and make his free throw shots, just in case it wasn't an Achilles, he could be eligible to come back into the game. So I love that. And I also just loved how New York loved on him in the Garden last night, chanting MVPs and as he began to hobble off of the floor. I really think that was special. I'm happy for that moment. For Knicks fans, I'm happy for that moment for his son, who may have really, and his wife, who I know is beyond basketball. They were really concerned about their loved one. I was just so happy about the class that New York showed. I think this was a season in the works, really re-embracing Julius and him really putting in the work to get back in the good graces, but also for him to, fall in love with the fan base again. So best of wishes to Julius. I truly, truly hope that all of, the x-rays are negative and that it is really a bad sprain, but with some time, maybe he could rejoin the team in the middle of the first round or by the playoffs. So, shout out to Julius Randle and, wishes for a speedy recovery. What I absolutely love about this team and Tom Thibodeau last night is also after the game when they ask him a little bit about the update on Julius. You know, he gave the update. He said right now, as he understands it, it is a sprain. But he never seemed like concerned about the team and their progression moving forward. And this is why Tom Thibodeau for us is a phenomenal coach to have in this moment with these young players. Because I remember he did it with Chicago. I remember when Derrick Rose went down, and I was not happy about the injury, but I was just happy about the opportunity window that would open. And maybe the Knicks could slide in and overtake them. But Tom Thibodeau, with the team being depleted with injury, continued to win because he continued to have everybody on the roster believe next man up, and they were capable. And they continued to win and be a threat and make noise. So I'm confident in knowing that Tom Thibodeau has a track record of pushing through major injuries to his stars and still getting the team to levels in which they can play, and they can play at the highest of level. And that's how you create stars in this league. That's how you create superstars in this league. That's how Taj Gibson was created. For those of you who have recency bias or recency memory, there was a little bit of a stretch where Taj Gibson was balling out. That's how Jimmy Butler was created. Okay? So understand we got the right coach for this team at this moment. So I love that. And wishes of a speedy recovery to our sergeant, Julius Randle. And let's just hope that all x-rays and test results come back negative and that he'll need like a week or two to heal. All right? So shout out to you, Julius Randle. Now, before we get out of here, let's look at hot off the grill. Let's see what's hot off the grill. And that means we're going to go over to Knicks Deli and see what Reddit is talking about. Okay? So give me a moment and let me chef this thing up. And we can pull up Reddit and see what they doing over there. All right? Bong, bong. I'm getting too damn good at this. Too dang good. All right, so let me see. Can y'all see my screen? Not really. Let's do it that way. Bam, let's go. So here we have Knicks Reddit. Now, if you are new to my channel and you ain't never heard of Knicks Reddit before, check it out. I got news for you, okay? You need to check out Knicks Reddit every now and again. They have content creators, Knicks fans who are super funny, but also they bring up good topics of discussion as well. So one user says, IQ keeps a screenshot of his D+ grade on his phone. I believe it. He said he keeps all receipts. All of those people that had everything to say about him and his progress, he let them know he keeps all receipts. So I 100% believe it. So shout out to IQ. I agree this is 100% correct. All right, next, this is a promotion, so we're going to skip on that. Shout out to the New York Yankees. Let's go. I'm a Yankee fan. You already know. All right, New York Knicks token says, say anything you want about this guy, but he has given his team everything he's got since the day he signed. He deserves all the respect in the world. Hope you get well, Julius. Very well said by New York Knicks token. Very well said. All respect to our guy, Julius Randle. Next up, we have Mellow Stare, and he says Isaiah Hartenstein credits Julius Randle with pulling him out of a funk earlier in the season by sending him encouraging texts. Wow. See, it's the things that you don't know. It's the thing that you don't know. Let's take a listen.
It was like 2 months ago now where you said like you felt like you were letting the city down. I think it's turned around a lot. What do you think when you subbed for Mitch when he was out? Did that help you?
Yeah, it helped a lot. I mean, there was a couple things. It was health, first of all, but then I think it was after one game where I played bad. I think I got a text from Julius just like saying, like, just keep going, like, we want you here. And so just him being a teammate like that, I think helped gave me more confidence. And I think the whole season he's been really good at making sure that everyone's feel comfortable.
Man, shout out to Julius Randle. See, these are the stories. These are the things that go on behind the scenes that fans aren't aware of, that fans aren't privy to. And I know that sometimes we watch what we watch on the floor, but this game is about so much more than simply what we see on the court. It's about coaching. It's about the Johnny Bryants. It's about hiring the Johnny Bryants. For all of you guys who want to get rid of Tibbs and throw him out with the bathwater and give the reins to Johnny Bryant, who brought him in there? Who was confident enough in what he does to bring a young star coach in on his team? And Rick Brunson, the father of the star, in on his team, and still be able to be confident to engage with Brunson at that level. All right, so many different components go into winning, and it's great to hear about this type of moment where Julius is doing what he needs to do as a leader to help make sure this young man felt comfortable enough so that he can produce, get through his funk and produce at this level at this time. Shout out to our guy. Here we have Ron Baker, who posts a post from Big Nick Energy, and he says, Jules going to come back with that Zenkai boost. Rest up, Julius. We need you for the war. All facts. That's nice. That's nice. All right, we got another one from Air Vito, and Air Vito says a photo of other people from IQ's hometown. Okay. I'm going to read two more of these. It says from Brian Photo, he says, after the last two games, Quick is now favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year. Look, I believe it, and we see it here. Below is the NBA Sixth Man of the Year odds chart via Bet Online. And here you have the players: Immanuel Quickley, Malcolm Brogdon, Bobby Portis, and Malik Monk. And right now, Immanuel Quickley is in the lead. Love to see that. And lastly, we have this from Mike Breen. Not the actual Mike Breen, but I'm sure it's somebody else. All right, it says Hart is genuinely the funniest dude on this team. Oh, so this is the actual video. Let's watch it.
In moderation.
Now you see how it happened, just like I said, right? He was talking to
Birthday gift for the Clyde.
point guard,
I appreciate it today. Enjoy.
And then a referee stopped by.
In moderation.
Time out.
Birthday gift.
Time out. All right, pay close attention. So you could see that Jalen Brunson was still in the shot because at the very end, when Josh Hart left his hand out there, Jalen Brunson smacked it for him. Watch that closely. It's in like the very last second.
For the Clyde. I appreciate it today. Enjoy the cupcakes. In moderation.
Yo, I love our team, man. I love our squad. I know right now when you have success, people want to make trades for you. People now want to act like they've always seen your your value, the talent that you have on a team. And now they want to talk about how Luka's available and how Dame is going to become available and how possibly we can make a dash at Giannis if Giannis decides he wants to switch it up. And I was one of those people too. I'm pointing that out. I think Giannis would be perfect. Or Jaylen Brown is now giving murmuring and giving vibes like you don't want to be in Boston no more. But you got to love this team. You got to love what we've built. We've enjoyed this season. We've absolutely enjoyed this season. We've had fun watching the relationships develop. The vibes have been immaculate all season. And it's so crazy. Cam is a human and he's a player, and I hope he does really well in Portland. But because we didn't draft him, and I think the front office wasn't on the same page with the coach, he just didn't fit. And we know the coach could be petty, and we sure that it had to do everything with the pettiness and the politics. But when you got a team together that everybody was on the same page to bring together. It's awesome, and you see it, man. So I love this team, man, from top to bottom. I absolutely love this team, and I'm excited to see what we can do in the playoffs. I'm telling y'all all, my prediction is conference finals. I know everybody is saying that I'm delusional, and I might be, but my prediction is conference finals. So I want to end on that. I don't want to keep this long. I went longer than I expected. But what do you say? Do me a favor, leave a comment in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe. It gets me before more people so that they can see when my videos are available as well. And keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life as applies to our team. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. But more importantly, keep this in mind. We are here. We got Knicks. Next, Sheer Brilliance Podcast. Sheer Brilliance Knicks. I'm out. Peace.
Victory. I just got another victory. Opposition said they sick of me. We turn their future to history.